Hello, Dark Sniper here. So I got a request to make some tutorials on movers, simple movers, lifts, doors, that sort of thing. So I thought, okay, let's try it. But I wanted to do something a little different. In Unreal Editor, things are pretty simple, and yet we can make seemingly complex things occur, even though we're still keeping everything relatively simple. And that's what I thought I would do. So we're looking at a door in the editor, or in the game rather, and let's see what happens when we walk up to this spot. Well, that was pretty unique. And it looked pretty complex, has a lot of moving parts, yet it's fairly simple. Let's go check it out. So here we are now in the editor, and we can notice that there are a series of movers here, a trigger, and a dispatcher. And that's all that it takes to make what we just witnessed in the editor or in the game. All right, so let's make another one just so we can see how it's done. So here's an opening, same as that opening. And what we have here is we have a series of brushes. We have the mover brush, and each one of these is its own mover. And then we also have a subtracted area. And the reason we do that for movers is for the lighting. If we don't subtract the area, then the movers can tend to get dark as they go in and come out. So it's just easier to have a hole there for them to go into. And also it kind of looks nice because you can kind of see the hole when the mover goes in. All right. So I'm just going to left click, holding down shift, right click and say polygons to brush. And what that's going to do is we're going to capture this brush right here. There we go. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. All right, so there we have it. We'll just hit the subtract. Come down 32, come down 32. Notice I have it on 16, so it's just snapping to the grid as I hold down the left control button and both mouse buttons. I can drag it down like that. Subtract. Subtract. Now I'm going to hold down control and the left mouse button and just drag it over here. Subtract. All right, so there we have our pockets for the doors to go into. Let's grab one of the movers here. We'll just left click, right click, polygons to brush. And I'll click somewhere to deselect everything just so it's only the brush we're grabbing. Left control, left mouse button, dragging it over. So there we have it in the first position, and we'll just add a mover right here, this button right here. If we right click on this button, it gives us various movers, but really all we need to do is left click on it, and that will assign just a general mover. So we've done that. Now we'll position it, do it again, do it again. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to push the B button on my keyboard and shortcut for hiding the builder brush. So now we can see all the movers. So now we just begin the process of positioning the mover. So we'll select this bottom one, right click, and go mover, key base 1. And then we'll position it in its opened position and right click and mover, key base 0. So there we go. We just programmed that mover. And we just do the same for the rest of them. And you do this with, all movers. This is how you do it. Whether it's going to be a pocket door that slides into a hole, or whether it's going to be a rotating door that rotates on a pivot, it's the same process. Whether it's 2 keyframes or 4 or 5, it's the same process. Unreal is pretty convenient that way. So rather than this being, a series of interlocking keys here, we could have just made it a single brush shape, done the same thing one time. But who wants that? All right, so there we have it. We have our movers set up. Now we need to go in and do some programming. We can select all 6 at the same time because they're going to be really similar in everything except for their tag. So we can go to mover sounds, come up to our sound browser, and we'll just pick, there's a loop sound. And we'll go to move ambient. That's the sound it makes while it's moving. See if we can, what was the in sound we had? I don't remember. That sounds good. I'm going to put that at closed. That's the final sound it makes. And that's good. We'll just do that one at the opened. Now you're free to use these closing and openings. It's just an additional sound for the beginning and the end. I just tend to use these 3 for simplicity's sake. We need to change the object here from bump open time to trigger open time. You can use trigger toggle, trigger control, and we'll go over those at some point perhaps, but right now we're just going to do trigger open time. Under mover, here's the move time. There's the number keys, the open and close position. We have 2 of them. And then here's the stay open time. I think we'll leave it at 1 second and 4 seconds. All right, so now here's the challenging part. It's not really, but yeah, we have to say that, right? We come up, we select one of the movers, knowing which one we're selecting. We come up to events, and we have to give it a unique name, specific only to this mover. And I'm going to say, how about BR1? All right. For no particular reason, the one over there, the original, I did DR1, which is door right 1, door left 1. So, but I don't want to make the same name here, so now we'll go BL1. And it's because it's going to the left, this is going to the right. BR2, BL2, BR3, That's their designation, their address, what have you. Let's grab this guy. So I'm gonna hold down Shift, left click, right click, polygons to brush, hit my B button to bring my builder brush back. So just so we can bring him over here, we'll know where to stand. Add that. All right, so now we need a trigger and a dispatcher. So we come up to our actor browser, the pawn up here, and we come down to triggers and we grab a trigger. I'm just going to right click where this guy is, add trigger. And that collision looks pretty good. So we know we'll have to come stand on this little spot, and we could actually make a text that says stand here or something like that, whatever you want. And we're going to stand on this spot to activate the trigger. If you don't know how to get this radius view, you come up to your view bar, right click, go to actors, radii view. Usually by default it's set like that at full actor view. So. All right, and we need a dispatcher. And we find that here as well, right there under triggers, dispatcher. So now we want this trigger whenever the player comes or the bot and stands here. We want it to call that dispatcher, and then that dispatcher is going to call all these movers. So let's come up to our trigger event, and we're going to call that dispatcher doorknob. How's that? That's what it is. I'm just going to copy it. We'll come up to the dispatcher and change that name, the tag, to doorknob. So the trigger calls doorknob, and doorknob then is going to call these movers. How does it do that? Under the dispatcher. So we have out delays, out events. The events are what it's calling. And the delays are, we can tell it we want it to call this one, and then we want it to pause for half a second, call this one, and so on. So now the only choice you have here is, do you want to start at the bottom? Do you want to start at the top? Let's go, we'll just do it BR3, BL3, 2, 2. So I think I got it 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. All right. And now let's cause a little delay. We want the first one just to open up, and then to pause a little bit. Otherwise, they'd all just kind of, and you might like that effect, but I kind of like the effect we showed earlier. So 0.5 seconds. All right. So let's build all, save it. And now if we did it right, if I did it right, it should work. Let's see. So here's our first one. Here's the second one. Oh, we got a little out of sequence, but that's kind of neat, isn't it? Now, I hope you realize, since we only have a trigger here, if I were to run in there and it shut back, we'd be stuck because we couldn't trigger it open. So we'd either have to increase the radius of this trigger to stretch into there, or we'd have to put another trigger. Well, let's look at that and see what it does. All right, so let's just grab that trigger, Control D to duplicate it, Shift or Control right mouse button. We'll push it in there. Let's grab that guy, that brush, put it in there, add it. See how the red line there? It has the same event. It's calling that dispatcher. So now let's see. So there we go. All right, I hope that is useful. Any questions, any comments, let me know, and I'll certainly try to address them. And soon we'll make some more if time allows. Have a good one.